There's not much in the Lexus line you can't get with a hybrid power plant, including this. It's a kind of hot-looking ES. Let's drive this ES300h, the hybrid, and check the tech. Now, the ES used to always get kind of some snide remarks for being sort of dowdy, a tarted-up Camry. You've heard all the lines. This is a pretty hot-looking car in this sedan class. You've got that trapezoidal mouth, which is the new Lexus look. You come to some much swoopier lines down the roofline and to the rear. And the car's got a little bit of the Lexus LS bearing without being so overbearing. Let's get inside. Now, first off, when you get into this ES, this is a really nice car. Really nice materials, nice and soft. I'm always amazed at how smooth they polish this wood part of the wheel in a Lexus. But then it starts to jar me a little bit. There's every single aspect of a French curve used somewhere on this dash. You've got trapezoids, and you've got the Lexus grille echoed here, and then you've got tapers, and it's kind of chaotic. My other problem is this color of the interior. I'm sorry, but chamois-colored hard plastic doesn't do any car maker any favors, and Lexus is no exception. Now, notice here we have a screen on this car, but we don't have navigation. But this is what they call a display audio system. I think it's optional, but I doubt you'll ever see an ES hybrid that doesn't have it. You've got a knob controller here, but it's different than what you'd get with nav, which would be that Lexus Palm controller. So everything changes, but you still have nav and controller for a bunch of basic settings. The most interesting of which are your media. Now, of course, you've got AM and FM radio. We have HD radio on this car as well. That's part of an optional package, though. That is not strictly bass. If you go to the media setting, we have our CD slot right here. And you see we get nice readout of the text from the tracks there, Grace Note database. And here's our Bluetooth streaming player. Now, this is my Android phone. I'm not getting metadata. It doesn't mean that you won't on yours, but on at least mine, ain't happening, and that's always annoying to me. The good news is we have very reliable AVRCP, the remote control protocol, so this track adjustment, pause and play, worked really well for me every time. I have a gripe, though, about the radio screens where they do the actual meta tags coming in from the RDS system. They don't use all the real estate that they could. That second line there where the tag line is, it always seems to be cutting something off, and sometimes it's kind of funny. And of course, you see here we don't have Toyota, Lexus, generally excellent app support. They call that Entune on Toyota, Enform on the Lexus. It's one of the best in the business, but you've got to option into that. Now, the other knob on the console, after you get rid of all this head unit stuff, is this one over here for your drive select. It's very interesting. We've seen it before on the CT. You push it to go to normal mode. You rotate once to go to sport, which also turns your left gauge from an eco gauge to attack and lights everything up in red. You go to the left counterclockwise for eco mode. Below that's a button for EV mode to force it to run electric more often than not. And then on your transmission, you've got a sport mode. This is starting to become madness, and it's not just Lexus. This transmission, by the way, is a CVT. It's got a traditional shifting gate, but it's just a continuously variable gearbox. No real gears in there. And you do have a rear camera on this car, but that is optional. Although, again, I bet every ES hybrid's probably going to ship with this. You get a wide-angle camera if you go to a higher trim with nav. Last thing I want to point out in this car is while the seats are very comfy, they're also very hot. The seat heaters go from position 1, which is okay, that's too hot, up to position 3, which is, good grief, call the Consumer Product Safety Commission. They got to give me like a half point in here somewhere. These things are serious. Now, the ES has always gotten lots of ribbing for being some kind of fancy Camry. Here is one place where it does share the guts with a Camry. It's hybrid motor. This is not the Prius powertrain, it's the Camry hybrid powertrain. 2.5-liter lean burn inline 4, in spite of the fact this car is called a 300. It's not a 3-liter. Couple that with electric motor, of course, front-wheel drive only, and that one-choice CVT gearbox. 200 horsepower. Doesn't sound like much, but of course hybrids are full of torque. Unfortunately, Lexus doesn't quote a torque number for this car, so we'll have to go out on the road and see if it has enough. They do quote MPG, of course. 40 city, 39 highway, for a car that weighs nearly 3,700 pounds. Compare that to the V6 on this car, the standard gas engine, you'd be getting a much lower 2131 MPG. There is a real difference. Okay, it's a hybrid with a strong electric mode, so you put it into gear, you start it, nothing happens, the car just starts to move. That's a little odd to begin with. This car can go a few miles, I think it's about 2 miles or so in pure EV mode. And depending on the conditions, it can do that at relatively high speeds. Up to about freeway speed, I think. Now, there's a big difference between sport, where it really pours on the torque. Electric motors are good for that. And here's eco, where it's really kind of reticent to move well. Normal is actually a great blend. The ride quality, dialed together like a Swiss watch, as you might imagine. Nothing rattles at all. On the other hand, the ride was a little bit unrefined. It's almost like they were trying to get a sport ride, which sometimes is just out of place. This car, to me, is a luxurious, kind of an affordable premium sedan, and I got too much road input. And the real-world MPG we were seeing was somewhere in the mid-30s, a combination of driving on freeway, city, up and down hills, and some torrential storms we had the last few days. That's a really nice real-world number. One more thing about driving this car that kind of annoyed me, there's a very slight high-pitch whine on deceleration or acceleration. It's coming from somewhere over here on the left side of the dash. It's a hybrid, probably a power inverter thing, I'm guessing. But I can hear it. My ears are pretty damn good, I guess, because that sounds like it's up around 15K or more, but it annoys me after a while. I want it to stop. All right, let's price this 2013 ES300H. About $39,700 is your base with destination. Won't have a lot of tech at that point. You can add about $2,600 to get navigation, premium audio, and a few other niceties. That would be kind of your main entry point to go CNET style. To go hog wild, though, you spend $10,600 on top of the base, and that gets you every tech toy in the book. And these guys do all their technology pretty well, so very little, if any of it, is going to be waste.